by creative brands. The Futures here showcases leaders, thinkers, and trendsetters from the creative industry, namely advertising, media, communication, and branding. My name is KG Srinivas, and I'm editor of Creative Brands, a portal that covers the global creative industry and economy. Today we have with us SHIVESHWAR Raj Singh, National Creative Director in Innocean, a global marketing and communication company. Shiv, a seasoned campaigner, began his creative career with Publicis as an account planner before moving to Mudra to handle Nestle. He then joined Triton, where he first took up the creative baton. Shiv then moved to Rediffusion, BY&R, where he handled Maruti and Airtel before joining FCB, where he spent 13 long years. Shiv has worked across brands, categories, including consumer durables, FMCG, automotive, technology, e-commerce, social service, airlines, and tourism. He's also handled HCL, Infosys, Whirlpool, Hero Pleasure, Boeing, Snapdeal.com, Lay's, All Out, Mr. Muscle, Bosch & Lomb, and UNICEF. Along the way, she also picked up awards such as the Campaign of the Year for Business Today, Abyss for Bosch & Lomb, the Olive Crown for Whirlpool's Ek Jodi Kapda, and the Effie's for Whirlpool and Hero. She was also an entrepreneur, having launched Smoke Signal, where, as it says, helps brands get into a relevant dialogue with the one person that matters most, the consumer. Shiv, I think there couldn't be a better start point. The consumer himself or herself. Where does the consumer figure in the crossroads that we have come to inhabit? Brands need to reach out, creatives need to craft the right communication, but the circumstances aren't normal. Where does the consumer stand as we speak?
The consumer is actually at a crossroads because you see, they want things to go back to normal. They want to go out there, spend, have a good time with their family. So today nobody's traveling. Today nobody's going to restaurants. Nobody's going to. The normal behavior has been disrupted. So they are looking to get back to some semblance of normalcy. That is the first thing. But the priority right now is keeping themselves safe and secure. So there is this balancing act that most consumers are faced with. That what is okay? What steps can we return to go back to normal? And what should we abandon? So there is Plato stood outside this shop once and looked at all these utensils, and he said, "What are a lot of things I don't need?" So the consumer is also in that mindset. Today, he's actually evaluating what I actually need, what I really need, and what I can do without. So the his prioritization has totally changed. Today, he's looking at the things that he really desperately needs. So whatever the necessities, we are back to square one, which are basic necessities need to be taken care of. So things like your everyday groceries, rations, your everyday food, milk, etc. That needs to be taken care of. Medicines, etc. Those things are very important. The things that he is now looking to postpone are purchases, like do I want to buy a new car? Do I want to buy a new watch, or do I need to buy a new phone? Now those are things where the consumer durables, unless absolutely necessary, will not be taken in the current situation. That's where I think the consumer is learning to trade off between what he actually really needs and what he's probably going to postpone to a while when things begin to return to normal.
Shiv, in fact, that brings us to the question of the sociological underpinnings of what you've just said. How consumers are prioritizing what is absolutely essential, or what is essential, and what is inessential in terms of consumption, which was completely different, say, about 3 months ago or 4 months ago. So may I lead you to the other question of the quality and nature of communication, given this factor. For this, we put to test every notion of communication in unprecedented ways as we speak.
Yeah.
So how do you craft your communication around the sociological underpinning of what you've just said?
Well, the first thing that you've got to understand is that the consumer knows when he's being sold. So he's savvy. It's not that you can take him for a ride by selling him something. something that he really doesn't need. So he's going to make the priorities are going to be, he's going to prioritize. So if you're selling him health insurance, maybe that's right up there in his list. But if you're selling him a new phone, maybe it's not there. So these are things that he is going to prioritize. Now, the fact of the matter is there are lots of interesting little things that are happening around this. A lot of brands are getting into things which are socially relevant. So, like Tata has got into something. A lot of brands have made a lot of contribution to the whole well-being and trying to contribute to the country coming back to normal. And the consumers are realizing this. So there is a lot of there will be a lot of likeness towards brands which they see have made an effort to reach out to be relevant in this particular area and in this particular time. So those brands will definitely survive, will come out smelling far better than brands which are sort of either have fallen silent or have just tried to push their products as if everything were normal. A lot of brands are still continuing to do that, which actually the consumer is looking for a lot of empathy. He is looking for the brands to reach out and say that, I understand where you are. I know what your priorities are. So I'm not going to come and sell you something that you really don't need right now. I'm going to come and sell it to you with something which is relevant and which is, which fits into your life right now. So brands that do that, understand that, are able to recognize that and, craft their communication, their messaging, their media around that, will perhaps definitely be in a stronger position once we come out at the other side.
Interestingly, Shiv, when you talk about responsible communication, responsible selling, as it were, can you tell us the sort of conversations you've had with your clients? What have they sought out, and what have you sought to give them?
See, we are even in the current client, like we work with Hyundai. We've had a very interesting last 2 months. Work hasn't stopped, but the focus of the work has changed. The focus of the work currently is trying to tell the consumers: we are, when you step into a car, what do you do? How do you sanitize yourself? How do you keep yourself safe? If you want to give your car for service, how are we going to ensure that everything is looked after, that you will not be at any risk? So we've put out communication, we've shot and put out communication, which is tackling all. So we are having our effort is to have a dialogue with the consumer, telling him that we understand your insecurities, your fears, and we are taking certain steps to tackle them. So whenever you come out, when you step out, when you come to a showroom or a service center, there are certain protocols that we follow. The standard protocols are in place to ensure your safety. And even in our Insta channels, etc., we constantly come with little bits of information which are not really to sell our cars, which are really to assure the consumer that when you step into a car, what are the surfaces you need to sterilize, what are the things you should carry with yourself. Suppose you take your key from a parking attendant, how do you should you sanitize it and take it? So which are the risk points, etc. If you pick up groceries, you should put them into the boot before you put them anywhere else. Don't carry them with yourself. So these are little what we call nuggets or little information which is more about the situation he is in. It's not about selling him a particular model or a particular variant or a particular car. So our effort is to try and get to him and understand his mindset and talk to him there. That's where we are focusing.
Just an added question to that. The automotive industry, like others, is faced with probably the biggest crisis ever in living memory. Naturally, there's no demand at the moment. As you said just now, the focus is on ensuring safety and security of the customer with the automotive segment. Spends have been cut. Both brands and consumers are conserving cash, all of it. On a different note, Shiv, how do you view this crisis in this segment, the automotive industry? Have you observed any uptick in this segment lately, or what do you sort of see in the coming 2 quarters?
Well, the automotive is going to be definitely majorly impacted. It already has been. It wasn't in a particularly good situation even before that. Last year was a slowdown year. Things were constantly on a gradual slow, but of course, in the last 3 months, things have been, April was a total write-off, and May, and things have started coming back, so things will pick up. But to assume that, in 3 months down the line, we'll be back to 2019 or the pre-pandemic levels is probably not going to be the case. So there will be a slow burn, a period of where a lot of effort will have to be made, both by brands as well as from the even at the dealer level, going there, where we need to make an effort to reach out to the consumer. So the consumer is going to decide whether he needs more cars, new cars, when he needs it. That's going to be his decision. We have to be there to facilitate it for him, to try and offer him certain assurances. If he if he's lost a job, can he not pay 3 AMIs at a go? There are certain assurances that certain packages that we can come up with, which can of course help and enable him to if he desperately does need a car, if he needs a car for daily commute, everyday commute, he's not willing to go in for public transport. So there will be certain decisions that people will perhaps need to take as they step out of their houses and go back to some semblance of normalcy. So they will at that point in time, the auto industry will have to be positioned in a way that A, it's not exploitative, B, it needs to be empathetic, and C, it needs to have certain tailor-made customized packages which people can use and avail of as they step out and come back.
Okay. Shiv, although media consumption in fact grew substantially in news, leisure and entertainment during this crisis, ad spends even in digital have fallen substantially. What is your take on potential and latent spends, especially with regard to digital and internet?
Digital and internet will come back. Digital and internet is not going to go anywhere. The ad spends are going to go up. But yes, traditional media, we don't know. I mean, newspapers are barely surviving right now. So, in fact, somebody told me the newspaper is saying that if I stop printing tomorrow, I can never come back again. So, if a newspaper stops printing today, so I mean, you see the thickness of the paper; it's virtually disappeared. It's like a thin little piece that comes to you. And a lot of people have discontinued it for the time being, and I don't know how many people will actually come back to it. So that is one media which is going to be majorly impacted. TV spends will continue. TV spends will come back. Again, it's ads. Brands will have to spend. It's a cycle. So brands will have to spend for the consumer push. Once you push something out, the consumer will start realizing that okay, things are getting back to normal. I need to get my regular things. Maybe I can go ahead and go out and get something extra. Maybe we can go out for a vacation. So when those things start coming back, the entire circle that will feed back into the economy. The media spends will go up. So I think TV and digital will not be majorly impacted. Although spends have obviously been cut in the current sector because nobody's selling. But the spends will come back. But I don't know about newspapers and magazines and whether they will come back in that. I think they will take a while and may take its toll on certain brands and certain publications may actually go out.
Okay. Shiv, at Innocean, have you sort of revisited your strategy, your communication for Hyundai, for example, in the short to mid-term?
Yes, that's constantly happening. We're constantly reevaluating. Certain things have been pushed, certain things have been brought up ahead a lot more. That is, like I said, we're doing a lot more socially responsible communication, which sort of tackles the consumer's immediate concerns and needs for safety. So that is what we are currently dealing with, which was not supposed to be there, but that's what we're currently working on and putting out. And the regular brand communication, etc., will start as and when things start returning to some degree of normalcy. People start stepping out, so the regular communication will come back, of course, at some point. Right now, the focus is more on trying to get the consumers, continue the dialogue with the consumers, continue assuring them how we launched something called Click to Buy, how they can check out everything they need from the car to finance options, etc., online. So there are certain things that we've done which are tailored specifically for this period, and which will perhaps continue as we move forward. So it's not that they will get to discontinue once things come back, but it's another avenue we opened for dialogues with the consumers.
Shiv, one final question, and at this point, probably it will be difficult to look at it, but there's a post-pandemic scenario likely. And from a creative perspective, from your perspective, how do you see the consumer and the brand interacting? What do you sort of see in the brand scenario? And
I think this is going to be an interesting phase. See, post-pandemic, there may be it could be euphoric. There could be this entire, once we have it behind us, there's this whole openness of, trying to do things and going out there. But I don't know whether that will actually happen, because I don't know how this pandemic will phase out. Will it stay with us for a year? So will other whole social distancing, wearing masks continue so will that whole not wanting to go and stay in a hotel or travel out or travel by air, is that going to continue? Not continue. If tomorrow, say, the pandemic ends, currently in this current situation, there may be a huge degree of euphoria and people might just go out and splurge. There may be a lot of spending on things, because people haven't taken vacations, people haven't bought cars, people haven't been to restaurants, people haven't been, yes, but also they are a little scared of spending right now, because people have lost jobs. There is insecurity. Pay cuts have happened across the board, and certain jobs have certain jobs have disappeared. And I don't know, there'll be a while coming back. I don't know, and if they're coming back, because a lot of people, and there's a whole entire shift of culture of working from home. I know a lot of people have now actually adopted that as a new normal. And now whether we return back to the same level of work post-pandemic, let's see. I don't know. I mean, that also will have an impact on how the consumer reacts. So a lot of people are talking about, I can probably shift to a smaller town and work from there. I don't need to be living in a big city. The reverse migration, I don't know. I mean, people are talking about it. I don't know whether it's a reality or whether this pandemic will be the start of that. No one really knows. Will it come back to where we were in 2019? Difficult to say. Difficult to predict.
Thank you, Shiv. In fact, that your answer contains a great sociological sort of forecast. People probably will move from the big city to the smaller towns or cities, for probably a far more peaceful life.
Yeah.
And hopefully all of us will have that. Thank you, Shiv, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.